Welcome to our discussion on the Commission on College Basketball. I'm pleased to be joined by former Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice. Dr. Rice, you led this commission looking to change college basketball, to essentially fix it.
Yes.
You and your group talked to countless people that have vested interest in the game. For those that really don't comprehend, walk me through sort of the breadth of different kinds of people that you guys talked to.
Well, we did talk to a wide variety of people. I would say all stakeholders. And by that, I mean people who have an interest in and some who just love the game. We talked to coaches. We talked through a survey to players in a wide-ranging survey. We talked to NCAA staff. We talked to the apparel companies. We talked to summer basketball people. We really tried to talk to agents. We talked to as many people who've been a part of college basketball to say, look, at this point in time, we understand that there's some real problems in what we all consider to be a great game. Now, let's get together and let's together cooperate to fix the problems with it so that we can get on to watching these young men do amazing things on the court and, more importantly, get that success in the classroom.
So what were the biggest challenges?
Well, the biggest challenges were that this has been a long time coming, frankly. College basketball has gone off course, as is demonstrated by what we saw in the FBI investigation. But we have known, and people kept saying, everybody knows that the problems have been there for a long time. Now, some would say, look, it's about big money, and there are just too many temptations. Well, I've never been of the mind that just because there are temptations, one has to take them. And so one thing that we wanted to say to people is that we believe that college basketball can be, again, college basketball with an emphasis on the college. But we all have to work toward that. We all have to take responsibility. Leaders, from university presidents to athletic directors to coaches to faculty representatives to those who are involved in the sport from the outside, have to take responsibility. So the biggest challenge is this has been a long time coming. And you have to start step by step unraveling some of the problems. But I think that most of the problems revolve around trying to put the college back in. So none of us think that one and done really fits with the college model, because a young man who comes for 7 months or so isn't really getting a college experience. What he's doing is he's playing to make us feel better about March Madness, but then he's going off to professional ball. We want to make it possible for that kid who really didn't want to go to college to go directly to the NBA. And so we've had to ask for the cooperation of the NBA and the Players Association to get that done, because that's not in the NCAA's hands. With the apparel companies that have been so important in the summer basketball space, as well as in supporting university programs, we had to say to them, help us think about maybe a new model for summer basketball, one where the NCAA and USA Basketball and could change July to something that really supports the student athlete and the prospective college athlete in a different way. So the other hard thing is there's so many stakeholders, and the NCAA doesn't control everything. And so starting that conversation was an important part of what we did.
I mean, on the global stage, as a Secretary of State, I mean, you had to deal with a lot of different parties at much more serious matters. But you had to see if they could come to the table and meet some sort of common ground. In this world, what kind of assurances did you get that the sneaker companies, the NBA, the Players Association, the agents would actually be willing to maybe make some compromises and come to the table all together?
Well, there are two ways that you assure cooperation, and I think we're employing both. The first is that you appeal to people's better angels about something that they all love, a joint enterprise. And one thing that I really did find, whether we were talking to coaches or university presidents or apparel companies or agents, people love this game and they want to see the game survive. And so you can actually appeal to people's larger purpose of coming together to make the game what it should be. And then you can have penalties for people who don't cooperate. And so we did spend a lot of time on the enforcement structure of the NCAA, getting professional investigators and adjudicators in those 10% or so cases that the NCAA really can't resolve through the cooperative governance model. and getting penalties for people who don't cooperate with that process. We have ways of dealing with one and done. If the Players Association and the NBA won't, we'd have to come back and ask the NCAA to look at things like freshman ineligibility. Nobody wants to do that. So you hope that the sense that this is a joint enterprise where we all have a stake in making this game the game that we are all proud of and the game that serves the interests of these young men, that's enough to get cooperation. And I feel pretty good about it. I have to tell you that all of the soundings that I've taken, all of the soundings I've heard is that people are ready to act. And I'm very gratified with the meetings that we had with the governing bodies of the NCAA today that suggested that not only do they want to act quickly. And they recognize that time's a wasting, and we need to get this done.
You mentioned in your remarks that litigation obviously prevents dealing with the likeness issue. For those that are on that other side that think that there need to be some sort of pay for play and the players aren't getting their cut, how do you combat that?
Well, let me separate the name, image, and likeness from the pay for play, because I think they are two different issues. What we said on NIL is that the legal parameters are right now unclear. There's actual litigation before the courts. And since we were charged with putting forth recommendations that can be legislated, that's what we did. The NCAA can't legislate in this area right now. But once that legal framework is clear, I think the NCAA's got to go back and look at what makes sense in 2019 and 2020, because there are a lot of pieces. There's an Olympic model. There is, the decision that you can go on Dancing with the Stars. And so there are a lot of things that are permissible and aren't. And frankly, I consider myself an informed layperson, and I can't really make sense of it all. And so I think going back and making sense of it is going to be the right thing to do once that is clear, the framework's clear from litigation. Now, when it comes to pay for play, that's a different matter. This is a commission made up of people who are at a stage in their career that if they had wanted to say pay athletes, they could have said it. That's not what we wanted to do. We wanted to reinforce what we believe in, which is the collegiate model. There is a professional track. If you want to be a professional, then go to the NBA. If you're fortunate enough to be one of those kids who comes out of high school and is ready to play, the NBA ought to let them play at 18. They're coming to college in one and done because they have no place else to go until they're 19. That's corrosive to the college model. If you want to play professionally, you can't play in the NBA. Maybe you can play in the G League. Maybe you can play abroad. But that's not college ball. The value proposition in college ball is this. You come and you get to play with your teammates and hone your talents and get the best coaching and get good nutrition and get academic support, and you get a college degree out of it. And that college degree is going to make your earning potential $1 million greater than the non-college graduate. And oh, by the way, the kid down the hall is probably working 20 hours a week and taking down loans that are going to take decades to pay off for that same privilege. So take what is the very valuable experience and possibility of getting a college degree, and that's the value proposition. Not paying you to play the sport, it's giving you a chance to get that college degree. But there is a responsibility on the other side, and that is, and we called it out, there can't be academic fraud that's countenanced by universities. Can't be any more shadow courses that aren't real courses. There can't be any more pretend majors that really don't prepare a student athlete for the future. Universities have to also put the college back in college basketball. We've done some other things, like we believe college degree completion programs should be standard across the NCAA. We understand that there are a lot of universities that have the resources to do that because of the high revenues that NCAA big sports now bringing down. But if you're a university or college that can't, we think the NCAA should have a fund to make it possible for students to complete those degrees as long as they have completed 2 years in good standing. So we believe that you really can get back to what we do best, which is to offer a young man who's extraordinarily talented, a chance for both academic and athletic success.
Appreciate your time, Madam Secretary.
Thank you.